Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Mr. Dogboat333 and welcome to the new campaign trail. Last time we hopped into the new campaign trail, we played 1988 Biden. And we showed everyone how this random obscure senator from Delaware named Joe Biden, something like that, rose to power in an alternate universe where he became president. Ran against H.W. Bush, showed him what was what, and then we had some fun and totally tanked it. Just have some more fun. And so we're going to be playing another alternate one, where we have an alternate figure from a different, who could have been president if he ran, but didn't. Running against someone who would otherwise be president. And with that, that's going to be Colin Powell. That was probably I don't know, it felt like a weird intro, but hopefully we get the idea. So after the Republican Revolution of 1994, Bill Clinton set out to chart a new course that would help him bounce back and win a second term amid an improving national climate. His goal now appears much more difficult to achieve, as retired four-star General Colin Powell has won the Republican nomination. Powell, riding a massive wave of popularity, must capitalize on his reputation earned during his decorated military service, while also placating conservative activists enough to prevent them from spoiling the vote and his chance of winning. Clinton will have to use his position as the incumbent to regain the upper hand and take advantage of both the growing economy and Buchanan's splinter ticket in order to win re-election by default. It's actually a pretty interesting election. We'll get into it when we get to it. But we're going with the only man who we can go with, Colin Powell, Republican from the home state of Virginia. There's not much that hasn't yet been said about Colin Powell. A retired four-star general with 35 years of military experience, Powell served in Vietnam and Frankfurt, commanding V Corps, as National Security Advisor to Reagan, and most famously as chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff during the Gulf War. Known for his calculated strategy, he successfully led coalition forces to a quick and decisive victory, gaining him much popularity. After his retirement, he published a best-selling autobiography, then entered the presidential race as Republican following greater popular demand. Born in the Bronx to Jamaican immigrants, he would be the first black president. Powell was more moderate than most Republicans, given his views on abortion and other issues, but was only able to win the nomination by reversing some of his positions. This is not enough for movement conservatives who made bold to Buchanan. He will have to win them back to beat Clinton without ruining his sterling reputation in the process. What's this guy's the U.S. intervention in Iraq and Yugoslavia? Well, Clinton was leading during Yugoslavia, so he wouldn't have been in. He was a big figure in both Gulf Wars, though. So Iraq 1 and Iraq 2. We have a couple options of running mates. I'm going to go with the default one, Fred Thompson. Having taken an eclectic path on his way to the Senate, Fred Thompson's benefits as a running mate may be in his peculiarities. His first big break was as chief minority counsel during the Watergate hearings, helping to uncover Nixon's cover-up. He has later entered the acting world, often playing the role of a politician in Hollywood films. Thompson handily won Al Gore's old seat in 1994, running on cleaning up Washington and shrinking government. Since then, he stayed true to his message, pairing social conservatism with support for term limits and campaign reform. Picking Thompson would help in the South, especially given his conservative record, while doubling down on Powell's outsider credentials. His sharp and down-to-earth style campaigning, having previously barnstormed Tennessee in a red pickup, could also make him effective at tat dog for the reluctant warrior. We're going to do that, start as normal. So, let's take a look at this map. We start with a very narrow lead. Emphasis on very narrow. We have the Pat Buchanan running a campaign in the South. He's taking a lot of support away from us that we otherwise could probably use to win in the South. But it's not completely out. We're not out of the running yet. Or we're still technically ahead in the running. So, it's early July. After a grueling primary season, he prevailed in a the nomination over the likes of Dole, Graham, Alexander, and particularly Buchanan, who's now running as an independent. We have a few weeks until the convention in San Diego, so how do you want to spend that lag time? Let's make a trip to some of our allies in the Middle East, like Israel and Kuwait. It'll shore up our foreign-focused message and bring back memories of the Gulf War. You get some really splendid press in Kuwait, and your speech commemorating the Gulf War makes for some incredible ads. So it's time for the Republican convention in San Diego, and many of the more conservative party faithful still aren't very happy with your nomination. However, as a presumptive nominee, you have a great deal of input into the convention's overarching theme, which you could use to calm these tensions. What will your approach be in this regard? Well, let's show the public our guts and valor. The Republicans and I have always been up to face any challenge, from the Soviets to Vietnam to the Persian Gulf. Let's have John McCain as our keynote speaker to emphasize that. McCain gives a stirring speech about his time in the Hanoi Hilton, and really gets a crowd riled up for fighting campaign, even if it is a little depoliticized. So that gives us a nice bonus lead, 302 to 236. We're going to campaign in California. I think it's possible to win California, at least with the guide I'm using, so we'll see what we can do. Well, it's game time. Senator Bob Dole placed your name in nomination last night, and today you're going to give your speech accepting it. What theme do you want to exemplify through your speech? Well, give a speech regaling what it's like to handle a real crisis, focusing on the Gulf War. Clinton has stumbled around the performance sphere and has mismanaged government at home. I'm running for president, so our allies will respect us, and we'll have a president who follows the law. Your speech loops in some solid attacks on Clinton while coming off incredibly presidential, especially as you recount your bravery during the Gulf War. You've chosen Fred Thompson as your running mate, with former Senator Howard Baker officially placing him into nomination. What do you have to say about his election? Well, Thompson is a fiery son of Tennessee who's always done right by his home state, including in the Senate. He's just the right man to help lead this country into the next millennium. Thompson has certainly challenged Al Gore, and his maverick brand of conservatism will go a long way to bring back the wavering Clinton states. There we go. So, fun fact about Colin Powell. He was in both Bush administrations. We'll campaign in California. He was one of the main guys in charge of Kuwait, and it was one of the main reasons, one of the main people pushing not to go further into Iraq. We talked about him this last Thursday in class. Then, during the second Iraq war that W led, he went to the UN to present the evidence that they had that Saddam had weapons of mass destruction. When he was in the UN, waiting, he was first given the documents, he said, and I forget the second part, but the first part that I'm about to say is a direct quote. "This is bullshit. They're going to have me go out there and lie to the UN. And then, well, yeah. From Oklahoma City to Paris, acts of terrorism have become an increasingly pertinent threat in recent years, claiming many lives and striking fear in the hearts of citizens worldwide. What would your plan be as president be to contain these attacks and defeat the terrorist threat? Well, I think we need to be much more aggressive in our containment of terrorism. We need to identify state-sponsored terrorism and terrorist leaders such as Saddam Hussein and Muammar Gaddafi and cut off their threat support to kill the threat. This is a very aggressive position, but it's not out of the mainstream. The Khobar bombings of July still sting many Americans, which helps dull the passion of doves. Well, after the Republican Revolution of '94, your party's Jacobins, led by Speaker Newt Gingrich, infamously battled with Bill Clinton during a prolonged government shutdown. The reputation of Gingrich and his revolutionaries have soured immensely, and as a result, Clinton's used his antics during the shutdown to boost his popularity. How do you want to navigate this complex issue? Well, we'll just campaign as usual. I'm the most depoliticized political candidate since Eisenhower, so I can just play where it lands and let Clinton chatter. Clinton ads tying you to Clinton runs ads tying you to Gingrich, but They don't really stick. There we go. Let's try California again. Republicans swept the Houses of Congress in 94 on a contract with America proposed by Gingrich. 2 years later, his lost its political cachet and many of his proposals have stalled. Still, your advisors are recommending you try to recapture its success in order to ensure victory. How will you proceed on this front? Well, I want to craft my own agenda similar to the contract, where we can clearly elucidate our own platform. We'll call it General Powell's Battle Plan. Include a copy with every volume of my autobiography, and give them out for free at my rallies. The battle plan becomes a big PR hit PR-wise, while further motivating your loyal supporters. Clinton calls it planning for a war on the middle class, but that's just noise. Pat Buchanan has been kicking up a storm on his now independent run for the presidency, hopping from news show to news show in an attempt to dissuade conservatives from voting for you. He's hit double-digit figures in many public polls over the summer. What do you have to say about his candidacy? Well, I won this nomination in part by refraining from tarnishing my image with unnecessary attacks. I should continue to run my campaign as is, and the voters will reject his candidacy in November. This is fair, but Buchanan seems to be getting increasingly stronger. Maybe he'll burn out on his own? Hopefully. We'll visit California. In the wake of your nomination, there remain conservatives who, despite being loyal party men, are uneasy about your commitment to the Republican cause, given your stance on abortion. Are you willing to do anything to assuage your concerns? As I've said in the primaries, we should prohibit taxpayer funding of abortions and institute policies like paternal notification requirements. I'm also willing to work with Senator Dole and others to appoint pro-life federal judges. So you stayed the same course on the abortion issue that allowed you to win the nomination. Some on the right still see it as insufficient, but you're sticking to your guns, which is always good. What is your view of America's role in the world, and the future of our foreign policy as we move on from the Cold War to the new potential challenges? We're going to be a serious member of the global community, working diplomatically to end threats before we have to go in militarily. As a superpower, we should be active in maintaining peace, not going to war. Very neoliberal institutionist of you, Mr. Powell. This would have killed Kissinger if he could die. The response goes over pretty smoothly, though. Americans get the point. Imagine that's going to get a response from Kevin in a few seconds. As time goes on, Americans seem increasingly frustrated with the tax system, finding the rates too high and loopholes too favorable to the rich. A recent poll finds that 56% of Americans wish to see a major, if not complete, overhaul of the tax code. What is your position on taxation? We're definitely going to be reducing taxes sharply. Clinton's raised them far too high, and American families need breathing room. Standard Republican orthodoxy is always effective when talking about taxes. Every presidential campaign has to get a bit negative, and this one's no exception, with a pervasiveness of negative advertising seen in the primaries likely to carry over to general election. How do you want to handle your attacks on Clinton? Let's have our running mate serve as our attack dog and let him do all the talking. I just keep my image above this all, but he can likely get the job done a little cleaner. Thompson slams Clinton in charismatic fashion, given a series of speeches that play well on television, contrasting Clinton's misconduct in office with Nixon's, while bringing up memories of how he exposed Watergate. This will definitely help you. There we go. How are we doing? We're doing very well. Keep trying to push in California. The internet has rapidly grown as a medium of mass communication, with Pew Research Center recently estimating that over 20% of Americans are going online. That being said, it also attracted the attention of lawmakers proposing regulations to control obscenity, as well as data encryption. What do you have to say considering the promise the information superhighway brings? In my career, I've been witness to the revolutionary potential new technologies like the internet bring. That's why I oppose misguided efforts to censor the internet through government regulation. Instead, we should encourage parents to be privy to what their children see on the net. Many advocates of smaller government are happy to see you reject for censorship. However, concerned parents groups are very upset with this position, especially considering your party's affiliation means they expect you to be a bit more moralistic. You've been critical of the Clinton administration's bombing of Serbian forces in Bosnia last year in Operation Deliberate Force. Do you wish to explain your position on the issue, especially in light of the recent conflict in Kosovo? Well, let's try to dodge this and criticize Clinton for his attacks during Operation Restore Hope and his failure to capture General Mohammed Aidid. It's a bit of a feeble punch, but at least you're staying in contention here. Most Americans were happy the genocide in Bosnia ended, but they were also unhappy when 18 Marines died. It probably evens out in the end. There we go. And we're prevailing pretty well. Still. We'll keep hitting California. Despite commentators' efforts to explain your success in the selection, as discontent with Clinton's status quo, his status quo has seen a major economic boom. How do you feel about the economy's current trajectory? We'll just try to focus less and less on the economy in our general campaigning. People know that what Republicans want, and they can read our platform, but we should talk more about Clinton's scandals and his foreign policy missteps than anything. In the words of the immortal campaign advisor in the sky, no harm, no foul. Buchanan's campaign has run a new ad which shows you rubbing your hands, as a grim voice speaks about how you've traditionally supported affirmative action, zooming in on your notably darkened hands. How do you want to handle this attack? Let's have Alma go out and give a talk criticizing Buchanan. She's got a sharp tongue, and I think she's the one who can really get through to Pat that he's going too far. Alma gives a major televised speech defending you and your record and criticizing Buchanan as being, frankly, racist. Pat gives a sheepish half apology and stops running the ads. Well, there we go. Keep going. Well, speaking of Fort Worth, President Clinton made news by indicating that he supports an amendment to allow voluntary school prayer, reversing his previous statement. What do you have to say about the matter? I've consistently supported such an amendment. I'm glad Clinton came around after some time, but people should also question why he facilitated on this issue until the last minute. You definitely have a point there. Clinton's announcement is certainly suspiciously timed, and if you want to keep your base in line, you'll do well pointing that out. Doing pretty well. Still behind in Minnesota. Couple of these New England states, but just got time. As internet grows in use, presidential campaigns have tried to use it to their advantage. Yours is no exception, as you've had a website of your own since the primaries. However, as the fall campaign progresses, are you willing to expand your online campaigning? Sure, let's do that. Bob Dole had an innovative website during the primaries and has friended the campaign. Let's hire his people, and maybe that could help us boon turnout via the web. Fun fact, Bob Dole was the first president to really use the internet. People like to give Obama credit. And Obama used the internet really well. He really used social media. But Bob Dole kicked ass when it came to internet marketing. Bob Arena, who managed Dole's website, is brought on board, furnishing your site with an innovative design, quick time movies, and even an email newsletter. By November, ColinPowell.org gets tens of millions of hits from eager Powell maniacs. I think the Bob Dole website might still be up to this day. There's apparently a kick-ass cookie recipe on there. Increasingly frustrated by his barring from the upcoming presidential debates, Buchanan has unleashed a new slate of attacks on gun control, using support on the assault weapons ban to claim you're a gun grabber, just like Clinton. How do you want to fight back? Well, Pat's playing fast and loose with facts. If I've stated previously, I will maintain the assault weapons ban as is, as a measure to fight crime. But as an army man myself, I will always support the right to bear arms. Way to thread the needle. You stay in the NRA's good graces while keeping with majority of public opinion. Presidential campaign debates are fast approaching. How good do you feel about this? I'm fired up. I'm ready to make my case to the American people. We'll do this one. You get into some limited attacks on Clinton, but you couldn't get any decisive blow to truly end this. Let's hope this doesn't hurt you too much. Yeah, we're still hanging in there somewhat, but you're standing in a town hall in Appleton, Wisconsin, where a local farmer tells you he's scared of having the country be run by the man who killed Vince Foster. What do you want to say to him? You know, I don't think there's any evidence for that at all. Clinton's a good man who's doing his best for the nation. He's not a murderer, and to suggest that is sort of gutter politics our nation should avoid. This is a touching moment that makes national news. Most Americans, including Clinton, are happy to see that chivalry survives in politics. Buchanan tries demagoguing about you calling Clinton a good man, but it never gains traction. Of all the nation's moral panics, none may be as long-lasting and as powerful as teen drug use. Despite a general decline in crime, many conservatives argue teen drug use is at an all-time high. How do you want to handle the issue? Well, as a general, I'm going to be launching a renewed war on drugs. There'll be no more staff cuts for the drug czar and no more talk of legalization. Our children are becoming drug addicts. It's high time we have a president who will do something about it. Fiery rhetoric, but who doesn't get fiery about teen drug use? This will definitely help you. Back to Cali. You were a prominent opponent of Bill Clinton's move to allow openly gay soldiers in the military. You were a key negotiator of the Don't Ask, Don't Tell compromise. What's your opinion on Don't Ask, Don't Tell 3 years later? I'm proud of the deal. Clinton and I argued, but ultimately we were able to put together a deal that kept soldiers safe and sacred, while leaving room for those with more permissive beliefs to be happy. Don't Ask, Don't Tell is pretty popular, except among guys like Buchanan. Sticking to your guns here is great. In August, Clinton signed the Personal Responsibility and Work Opportunity Act, a key Republican bill that has radically slashed welfare rolls nationwide and introduced stricter work requirements for welfare recipients. What is your opinion on Clinton's welfare reform, and do you support continuing efforts to change our system? Clinton may have signed the bill now, but I guarantee you with a Democratic Congress, we won't be seeing the same success. Republicans are the ones pushing for real change, and Clinton's only doing this for political gain. You might have a point, but people are pretty satisfied with Clinton doing this and with the status quo. Maybe this will help your congressional friends, but it won't do much for you. It's worth a shot. Back in the primaries, several conservative activists and talk radio hosts opposed your candidacy, floated rumors that you helped cover up the My Lai massacre during the Vietnam War. VPAC, a political outfit of Oliver North, has summoned these ghosts again, funding a major ad blitz, repeating these same charges. How do you want to address these allegations? Well, let's give it a shot. I'm going to give a major speech on this topic, putting these rumors to rest once and for all. It was mudslinging like that almost kept me out of politics, but it won't stop me now. It appears you're on your game today. You gave a grand speech discussing your service in Vietnam and easily dispel these rumors. The ads this will make are going to kill Buchanan and Clinton. Heck yeah. Democratic pundits and groups have consistently tried to undermine Fred Thompson's outside reputation, citing his decade-long stint as a D.C. lobbyist, where he made roughly $1 million. How do you want Thompson to handle the attack, especially in light of his upcoming debate with Gore? Jim Cooper tried flinging the same attack at Fred into the Senate race 2 years ago, and he still won by 22 points. He's handled this on his own before, he can handle it now. Gore attacks him over this, and Thompson counters by recounting his involvement in the Watergate hearings in his usual charismatic fashion. Most agree that he won the debate over Al Gore. There we go. Let's go. Clinton's so-called Hillary Care plan to achieve universal health care coverage famously crashed and burned in 1993, and your parties dance on his ashes. However, what is a Powell alternative to Clinton's failed plan? I'm deeply supportive of Senator Chafee's Health Care Act, which would give consumers the benefit of choice while lowering costs and keeping big government out of their hair. Instead of bureaucratic meddling, let the people choose what they need. Chafee's plan is a solid alternative for the Clinton plan, but many hardline Republicans resented it. While it is rather mainstream, movement conservatives chafe at it a tad, possibly because it proposed an individual mandate. Chafee? Huh? I see what you did there. Immigration, particularly on the southern border, has become an increasingly heated political issue. Many Republicans have suggested many remedies, including denying public benefits to illegal immigrants. Buchanan, for one, has consistently called for a fence to be built on the southern border. How will the Powell administration handle immigration? Listen, I'm a child of immigrants, and I want to reject the suggestion that immigrants from anywhere are anything less than a benefit to the nation. The Hispanic immigrant who became a citizen yesterday must be as precious to us as a Mayflower descendant, and my administration's policy will reflect that. Inspiring words that may make your more liberal supporters happy, but Buchanan has a lot of room to work with this. And we'll figure it out, hopefully. 2 weeks before the election, the Wall Street Journal reported that Al Gore appeared at a fundraising event at a Buddhist temple in California, where appeals for the temple illegally raised $50,000 for their campaign. How do you want to take advantage of his potential October surprise? Honestly, let's sit back and let the journos handle this. They'll make a whirlwind of this. Indeed, they do. Can stay on course while every reporter in the country looks to feast on Clinton's carcass. How are we doing so far? 360 to 168. Clinton is somewhat ahead in California, but hopefully we can kick back into gear with that. Take control again. There. Campaign season is coming to a close, and America is getting ready for that fateful election day. What themes do you want your fellow citizens to reflect on as they get ready to choose who will lead their country in the next 4 years? Let's keep it simple and focus on my American journey. I've gone from a child of immigrants in the South Bronx to leading our country in battle against the Middle East's most ruthless dictator. My journey is proof that Americans can do anything, and if you elect me as your president, I'll prove it to you again. A truly inspiring speech, albeit a bit apolitical. It's exactly the kind of charisma you ought to be showing, though. There we go, California. And I think we'll want to have a couple of options. Last day of campaigning, where do you want to go before the polls start to open? The West Coast is fertile ground for the Powell message. We need to crisscross California and retake that state from Clinton and his blue state cronies. California is definitely a must-win state for any candidate. Speaking to a crowd of supporters in San Diego, you reflect on how far you've come since the convention in August. It all ends here no matter who wins the White House. Let's hope the Bradley effect doesn't catch up to you. Election night has arrived. Settle in, wait for results. However long it may take. Best of luck. Let's go, boys. Let's see. Shit. Here we go. Uh-oh. I think my roommate died. I hear him yelling. Not yelling, but yelling upstairs. He's having a gamer moment. Well, here we go. Pretty good lead so far, 41 to 27. Ohio is in, pretty big swing state that we won. A lot of the South is holding strong for us as well. We lost Georgia. Kind of sucky, but not unsurprising. Weird for a Republican to lose Georgia and Tennessee. But we have Texas, not a surprise there. Pennsylvania and New Jersey are coming in for us. Lost Connecticut, that was one that was in contention. But we're holding on to the Rust Belt right now. We've won already. There we go. I'm curious how we'll do in these two deep South states, Kentucky and the West Coast. We lost Mississippi. This is a weird fucking map so far, I gotta say. But we got Hawaii. Didn't win Washington. We got Oregon, though. We lost California. Dang. Okay, 306 to 232. Not bad. Not bad at all. Rule 4. It can be done. Your supporters at your election night rally to unleash cheer after cheer as more and more swing states are called for you. You can't keep the grin off your face as you look towards the roaring crowd of Powell maniacs, the people who propelled you here to the victory stage, rocketing past Clinton. These are the people upon which your victory depended, and these are the people who gave America its first black president. Clinton gives you a call shortly after, and the two of you have a polite chat about the future of the nation. He wishes you well, and you do the same to him. You've cleaned Clinton's clock pretty good, and Congress has remained in Republican hands. You have a comfortable majority to handle the issues of the day, such as balancing the budget, cutting taxes, or maybe even making slight changes to Social Security and Medicare. Should be pretty smooth sailing for the first 2 years, and hopefully past the midterms you'll retain control of Congress. There's much to be done, but America seems to believe you're the man to do it. You've made history tonight, General Powell. As you listen to Cheers' supporters, you start to truly feel like the title of President Powell fits you pretty damn well. There we go. Let's check overall. Let's check the closest states. The closest state was Alabama. Kentucky was close as well. California was also very close. I think we didn't do the best with the RNG questions, so that's what cost us in the end. Mississippi and Oregon. There we are. 282 to 256 is what's supposed to be the historical tie. So we did better than the average. 2020 reference. Funny. Into the Powell verse. I like that. This is the little lore bit for it. God, that's a weird map. I buy it, but that's still a weird map to look at. A blue deep south, red rust belt in the 90s. That messes me a little bit, but it makes sense, honestly. Yeah. I'll read this real quick, and then we'll I'll show a little fun alternate ending real quick after. Colin Powell, urged on by a strong draft Powell movement, entered the 96 presidential race on November 8, 1995. After a series of strong but difficult victories against primary opponents such as Steve Forbes, Bob Dole, Pat Buchanan, Phil Gramm, and Bob Dornan, Powell secured a nomination on the 26th of March, 1996. His victory sparked a third-party splinter run by Pat Buchanan, a paleoconservative commentator who entered the general election soon after Powell's victory. Hoping to consolidate his conservative support, Powell selected Tennessee Senator Fred Thompson as running mate, hoping to use his running mate as an attack dog who could bring in Buchanan with voters. Clinton, meanwhile, coasted on success as a party standard-bearer, shrugging off any speculation of a primary opponent and sailing to renomination. The race between Clinton, Buchanan, and Powell focused primarily on social concerns, as Clinton had a natural upper hand on the economy and foreign policy was of small import. Powell started off the campaign with a large lead, but was slowly whittled down by Clinton's natural popularity. Strength of the economy, his poorer-than-expected performance in the presidential debates, and Buchanan's persistent splinter bid, drawing away crucial votes in the South. Powell was perhaps buoyed at the last moment by a shocking series of ads by Buchanan's affiliate Iowa North, which blamed Powell for covering up the My Lai massacre during the Vietnam War, which caused Buchanan to bleed support in areas such as Florida and Texas. Clinton was also harmed by the Buddhist temple scandal, where Vice President Gore illicitly solicited donations from donors at a Buddhist temple, which included foreign donors. Ultimately, these two scandals, plus Powell's own personal popularity, propelled him to a slim majority election, making him our nation's 43rd president, our first African-American president. I like it. Real quick, I'm going to go with something kind of funny. Submit. Do the same that we did before. I'm going to go on easy difficulty just in case. Start speed running here. Do. I'm waiting for it. Here we are. So unit grows in use. Presidential campaigns have tried to use it to their advantage. Yours is no exception, as you've had a website of your own since the primaries. However, as the fall campaign progresses, are you willing to expand your use of online campaigning? Sure, let's do that. California is the hub of our current tech boom. Maybe we can find a competent firm while on the West Coast to beef up our own web operations. Your campaign finds a firm named Higher Source while in San Diego. Unfortunately, it turns out that they are run by some weird UFO cult calling themselves Heaven's Gate. Everyone from SNL to cable pundits are making fun of you because of this. Not good. Not a huge hit, but 8 hits for sure. Where'd we go? Which one do I need? 56. There we go. 02. Right. Okay, here we go. We'll hit the South real quick. Despite our best efforts, Pat's taking too many votes from us from Deep South. We need to barnstorm Alabama, Mississippi, and all the other states in the South to ensure we don't lose these critical voters. Never a good sign nowadays when Republicans fighting for the South is take your trip from New Orleans to Tampa Bay, but hopefully this will be fine anyway. So hope the Bradley effect doesn't ruin the night. Here we go. I'm going to stand up a little bit. Shit. And onwards we go. Indiana is the only one that's in. It's a little interesting. There we go. So getting the deeper South states in. Oklahoma. DC's been called. Getting more of those New England states in, but we won Kentucky this time around. I don't think we did that last time. So that's nice to see. West Virginia staying blue, as it always does. Got Florida. Prevailing so far. Tennessee still stayed blue like last time, but that's alright. We've won. It doesn't matter. Got Georgia. Here we go. We're actually holding on for Deep South. A little less embarrassing this time around, even with the Heaven's Gate thing. I'm sure that won't have any impact in the long run. Just be a silly little joke. There we go. We got the West Coast all around. Are we going to win Maine? We won Maine. Huge landslide. And let's see the final results. March 8th, 1997. The Hale-Bopp comet passes, and the White House, you've take the draught, the same way the rest of the nation, brainwashed by the subliminal messages in your website, does so. You feel your soul ascend out of your vessel, soaring higher and higher towards the comets. Your next level body, truly the general upon earth, has become the savior of mankind, shepherding them towards Heaven's Gate. May the next level bless you, Colin Powell, savior of planet Earth. Blessed be. See the closest states. Maine was very close. Mississippi. Could have won Delaware. We'll just leave Joe Biden behind. What the fuck did I come back to? It's a secret ending. It's the secret ending you missed. We went ahead and won. Normally. And there's an event for the website. Gotta explain it to Kev real quick. If you hire a California firm, you end up hiring the same firm that did the Heaven's Gate, that's connected to the Heaven's Gate. If you win the election as that, you help everyone ascend. So, with that, we are truly in the weirdest timeline. But I wouldn't take it any other way. So I'm leaving it there. Thanks always for watching, Powell Maniacs. If you like this video, leave a like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you want to see more of this content in the future, hit the sub button for uploads weekdays, as well as occasionally Saturdays. I mainly do strategy game videos, but I like to do new campaign trail on the weekends or other games on the weekends, so check that out. Any comments, feedback, suggestions for campaigns to play down in the comment section below. I really comments appreciate all the feedback you have for me. Check out my links down in the description box below, including the Twitch, which this is filmed live on. Yeah, that's it for now, my friends. I thank you for watching. My name has been Mr. Dogboat333. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.